Right now, at this exact moment, something is fighting for control of your thoughts. And you don't even know it's happening. Not a person. Not a government. Not a virus. Something far more sophisticated, and it's been running silently inside you your entire life. We talk about external manipulation, algorithms, advertising, politics. But the most powerful war zone? It's the 6 inches between your ears. Today we're going deep into the quiet war, the psychological systems, corporate technologies, and hidden mechanisms that are reshaping how you think, feel, and decide. And by the end of this, you're going to look at your own mind, and the screen in your hand, very, very differently. Let's start with something simple. You woke up this morning with intentions. Maybe exercise. Maybe focus. Maybe something productive. How many of those intentions survived the first hour? This isn't about discipline. This is about architecture, the invisible architecture of your attention, and who designed it. In 2023, the average American spent over 4.5 hours per day on their phone. That's 68 days per year. Staring at a rectangle. But here's the thing nobody talks about, the hours aren't the problem. The rewiring is the problem. Every time you pick up your phone expecting a notification and there isn't one, your brain releases a tiny pulse of anxiety. Do that 1,000 times a day and you've trained yourself to be perpetually unsettled. This is called variable reward conditioning. It's the same psychological engine that runs slot machines. And it was intentionally built into every major app you use. Former Google design ethicist Tristan Harris called it a race to the bottom of the brain stem. These platforms aren't competing for your time, they're competing for your nervous system. Let's talk about dopamine, because this word gets thrown around so much it's lost its weight. Dopamine isn't just pleasure. Dopamine is anticipation. Your brain releases dopamine not when you get the reward, but when you expect it might come. The scroll. The refresh. The 3 typing dots. That's the hit. And here's where it gets dark. Your brain literally cannot distinguish between meaningful anticipation, like waiting for someone you love, and manufactured anticipation designed by a 25-year-old product engineer in San Francisco. Now let's go deeper. Because the dopamine loop is just the entry point. There's a more sophisticated system operating underneath it. It's called the attention economy. And it's not a metaphor, it's a literal economic system in which your attention is the commodity being bought and sold every second. Every second you spend watching, scrolling, reacting, that data is packaged, auctioned, and used to predict and influence your next behavior. You are not the user. You are the product. And the people building these systems are not evil, that's the most disturbing part. They're brilliant engineers solving optimization problems. The problem just happens to be you. Here's a concept you need to understand: persuasive technology. It's an actual academic field founded at Stanford in the 1990s. The study of how to design systems that change human behavior. B.J. Fogg, the founder of that lab, has said that the graduates of his program are now responsible for more behavioral change at scale than any government or religion in history. Think about that. No election. No army. No law. Just apps. And they changed how billions of humans think, feel, and relate to each other. Now here's the psychological layer that most people miss entirely. Your brain doesn't just get addicted to content, it gets addicted to identity. Every like, every comment, every follower count, it's not just validation. It's your brain constructing a self-image in real time based on digital feedback from strangers. Psychologists call this the looking-glass self, the idea that our identity forms based on how we perceive others perceiving us. Social media didn't invent this. It just industrialized it. And when your sense of self becomes dependent on a platform, the platform owns you. Not your data. You. Let's talk about the feed. Not what's in it, but how it was designed. The infinite scroll was invented by Asa Raskin in 2006. He has since publicly apologized for it. He estimates that infinite scroll costs humanity 200,000 additional hours of collective attention per day, just from the removal of a single stopping point. One small design choice. No physical friction. No page break. Just, keep going. And that was enough to alter how hundreds of millions of people spend their consciousness. Now let's get into the AI layer, because this is where the war escalates from strategy to something that feels almost alive. Every major platform now runs AI recommendation engines that are not programmed with goals like inform the user or entertain the user. They're optimized for one thing, engagement. And what drives the most engagement? Research consistently shows it's outrage, fear, and moral indignation. Not joy. Not inspiration. Threat. So the algorithm, without any intent, without any malice, learned that making you angry keeps you on the platform longer. And it optimized for that. At scale. Across billions of people. This is not a theory. In 2021, Facebook's own internal research, leaked by Frances Haugen, showed that the company knew its algorithm was amplifying divisive and harmful content, and chose growth over safety. Think about what that means. A privately owned algorithm, optimized for profit, was quietly shaping the emotional states of 3 billion people without their knowledge or consent. Now let's go to the cognitive layer, what this actually does to your brain structure over time. Because this is where it stops being abstract. Neuroplasticity is your brain's ability to rewire itself based on repeated behavior. Every time you perform an action, the neural pathway for that action gets stronger. So when you spend 4 hours a day in a rapid reward, high stimulation, low-depth environment, you are literally reshaping your brain to crave that environment and struggle in its absence. Studies show that heavy smartphone users demonstrate measurably reduced gray matter density in the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for long-term thinking, impulse control, and deep focus. The same part of the brain that makes you who you are. Your ability to plan your future. Your ability to resist impulse. Being quietly degraded. And the war doesn't stop at cognition. It goes social. It goes political. It goes existential. Political scientists at MIT found that false information spreads 6 times faster on social media than accurate information. 6 times. Not slightly faster. 6 times. Why? Because false information tends to be more emotionally novel. More outrage-inducing. More shareable. The algorithm didn't create fake news, it supercharged it. Now we're not just talking about individual minds. We're talking about the architecture of reality itself, what people believe is true, what they think is possible, who they trust. And here's the thing about the quiet war, unlike a physical war, there are no visible battle lines. No uniforms. No declaration. You don't even know you've been enlisted. Let's talk about filter bubbles. Eli Pariser coined the term in 2011 when he noticed that Google and Facebook were quietly personalizing reality for each user based on what they'd clicked before. You didn't ask for that. It just happened. And slowly, you began living in a version of reality curated entirely around your existing biases, designed to keep you comfortable enough to stay. And the more extreme your content consumption, the tighter the bubble gets. YouTube's own algorithm has been documented to gradually lead moderate political viewers toward increasingly radical content, not because it's instructed to, but because radical content drives more engagement. This is called algorithmic radicalization. And it doesn't require conspiracy. It just requires optimization. Without ethics. So we've established the battlefield. Now let's talk about the soldiers. And the most powerful soldier in this war is something called a cognitive bias. Your brain has over 180 documented cognitive biases. These aren't flaws, they were evolved shortcuts that helped our ancestors survive. But in the modern information environment, they're weapons being used against you. Confirmation bias, the tendency to seek and believe information that confirms what you already think. Social media platforms exploit this to keep you in a loop of self-reinforcing content. Availability bias, we think things that come to mind easily are more common or more dangerous than they actually are. Fear-based content makes threats feel ubiquitous. Your risk assessment breaks. In-group bias, we instinctively trust and defend people who look like us, think like us, vote like us. Social media tribes don't just exploit this, they manufacture it. The platform doesn't care what tribe you're in. It just needs you to be in one. Because tribalism drives engagement. Engagement drives revenue. And you're the fuel. Now, here's a question that should unsettle you. If your opinions were shaped by a feed curated by an algorithm optimized for outrage, are those opinions really yours? This is the deepest philosophical wound of the quiet war. Not that they stole your data. Not that they wasted your time. That they may have quietly rewritten your sense of reality without you ever noticing. René Descartes said, "I think, therefore I am." But what if the thinking itself has been corrupted? What does "I am" even mean then? But here's where we pivot. Because this documentary isn't about making you feel helpless. It's about making you see. The first and most powerful act of resistance in the quiet war is metacognition, thinking about your own thinking. The moment you observe your mind, the algorithm loses its grip. Ask yourself, why am I feeling this emotion right now? Did this content provoke it deliberately? What am I being pushed toward feeling? That awareness alone changes everything. Cal Newport, author of Deep Work, argues that focused attention is the new superpower. In a world designed to fragment your concentration, the ability to think deeply for sustained periods becomes extraordinarily rare, and extraordinarily valuable. The people winning in this economy are increasingly not the ones with the best information, it's the ones who can actually think without distraction. Without being reactive. Without being played. Philosopher Byung-Chul Han calls this era the burnout society, where we are not controlled by external force but by internal compulsion. We are not prisoners. We are volunteers. And that is far more dangerous. There are no chains. There is no warden. There is only the pull of the feed. And the quiet satisfaction of being entertained while your autonomy erodes. But here's what the algorithm can't touch, your awareness of it. Every single framework we've covered today exists for one reason, to help you see the architecture of the system trying to own your mind. Because once you can name the machine, you can step outside it. Not permanently. Not perfectly. But enough. The quiet war is real. It's ongoing. And it is being fought on the most valuable real estate in human history, the space between stimulus and response inside your mind. Viktor Frankl, who survived the Nazi death camps, wrote that between stimulus and response there is a space, and in that space lies our freedom. Our growth. Our humanity. The entire attention economy, every algorithm, every notification, every dopamine trigger, is designed to collapse that space. To make you react before you can respond. Protecting that space, that gap, is the entire battle. Not deleting your apps. Not going off-grid. Just refusing to let the machine eliminate the distance between impulse and choice. The quiet war is not coming. It's already here. The only question is whether you're going to fight it consciously, or lose it. Quietly, one scroll at a time. If this changed how you see something, your mind, your phone, your attention, share it with one person who needs to hear it. That's how the resistance spreads.